So after thinking of having something interesting to do between reviews and having a few talks with Baggy Spartan 117, or the Noble Wartmaster as he's known on Twitter, I decided to make a video talking about how I make my reviews, critiques, whatever you want to call them. I will also give out some advice to anyone looking to do something similar, and if you have any questions that I did not answer in this video, then ask me in the comments below. Starting off, I choose what game I want to review. Now, for the time being, I am only able to do PC game reviews, but I am thinking about branching out to consoles in the future. There are many games I own, but I try and look for a game that would make an interesting video, and one that I could say some interesting things about. This is why I will probably never do videos on games like the Beginner's Guide, because even though that game is interesting, there isn't really much I can say about it. Basically, if I can't make a review of it, then I won't make a review of it. My advice is that if you can't really think of anything to say about the game that would make an interesting video, try a different game to do a review on. The most recent video I made at the time of this video was the expansion pack to Doom 3, Resurrection of Evil. Doom 3 was the first game I reviewed, and I realized I never talked about the expansion pack, so I feel that I could do a video on it. Alright, I've got a game I can talk about. Next thing is I record myself playing through it. I use Open Broadcast software, or OBS for short. I know there are better recording softwares out there, but this one works fine for me, at least for now. I record at 1080p 60 frames per second and a bitrate of 20,000. Next thing I do is play through the game. Not really much more to say about that. Sometimes I'll take notes of something specific, but for the most part I'm just playing a video game. Now, if you're going to do reviews, you could use someone else's footage, but I think it's better if you use your own footage, because someone else's footage may not represent your experience with the game or your skill. I will sometimes use footage from other people, and I will credit them, aside from my Dead Space video where I used footage from 2 Let's Plays of the game and forgot to credit them because I'm a jackass. Yeah, well done me. If you're going to record console games, then you'll need a capture card. Now, there are many of them around that are high quality and record at 60 frames per second, but the better the capture card, the more expensive they are, so you'll want to try and figure out what works for you. So after I'm done with recording the footage for the game, I write a script for the review. I know some people don't like to use scripts for reviews, but I do because it helps organize the review and allows me to present points in a concise manner. I know some people think I'm a weirdo for this, but I don't actually use Microsoft Word for my scripts. I use Notepad. I then write the script and introduce the game in question, and talk about the gameplay, the story, and what I like and what I don't like. Now, that may sound simple, but it can be hard depending on what game it is, how long it is, and just the story of the game in general. I throw in a few jokes now and then to keep the narration from being mundane, but I try my best not to do too many jokes because I feel like if I joke too much, then it will become less of a critique and more of a comedy video. Plus, I want people to focus more on what I say about the game rather than how funny my jokes are. Usually I talk about the gameplay first and the story second. This has changed in a few of my reviews, like the Stanley Parable and Splinter Cell videos, where my previous formula wouldn't really work for a video on those games. I would usually list all the guns and enemies, or in a case like Portal, all the things that the player can interact with. There is quite a bit of effort that goes into writing a script, but I can't really explain it well in words. I do also type parts of the script to remind myself how they will fit into the video, or where I'll put certain clips in, or I'll even record myself telling my future self, hey, you put this clip here, right after I say this. I do usually listen to music while I write scripts because I feel like typing thousands of words for hours on end will get boring. Anyway, once the script is done, I record my voice and say what the script says, although I do sometimes cut things out if I don't think they'll work in the video, or sometimes I'll add new pieces in as I record. I use a Blue Yeti microphone, and I use Audacity for recording. Recording is probably the easiest part of the video making process, although I can mess up a lot. Over the course of my reviews, you may have noticed that I have started talking slower, because even though talking at Eminem speed is awesome, it often makes it exhausting and hard to say my next line. It can also sometimes make what I'm saying hard to understand. I used to record my voice on different days because it was much easier, but now I record it all in one take because sometimes when you record something and then take a break or come back the next day, your voice sounds completely different, or at least slightly different. This is me recording this a day later. Now, it isn't something that completely ruins the video, but it can be really distracting, so I avoid my voice changing in the video by recording it all in one take, and any mistakes I make are edited out later. Now, the next part is the most important part, editing the video. So I have my footage, check, recording of my voice, check. Alright, time to go to editing. I use Adobe Premiere. I know a lot of people like to use Sony Vegas, but they're pretty much the same to me. So the first thing I do is insert my voice into the video. That way I can add the video part later, and I can show off stuff that I'm actually talking about and have what I'm saying match up with what you're seeing. Although if I know I'm going to insert a certain clip of the game or a movie, then I'll add that part in just so I know where it fits into the video timeline, and so I don't have to readjust the video later. I like to call this the skeleton structure of the basic layout of the video and how it is created, and now I just need to add the visuals or the meat onto the bones, if you get what I'm saying. This can be boring, as unlike writing the script, I can't listen to music or do anything else to entertain myself. I have to be 100% focused on what I'm saying, and that the video matches up with what I'm saying. If I get bored or annoyed too much, then I'll take a break, usually for half an hour to an hour, and then come back to do the video. I do this because constant stress on the mind isn't too good, and I'd probably lose all motivation to work on the video if I just kept working on it. It also allows my mind to stay fresh, which is important because I'd otherwise start screwing things up. So I have the clips done, but there are some parts where I add images or text, which is pretty simple, although sometimes getting them positioned in the right way can be a pain. Like in my Fear video, for example, during the credits you may notice some of the text is off-center, but for the most part, this is pretty easy. Then I add some music. Reason being is because I feel like my voice alone would be kinda mundane, and so I add some music in the background to keep the commentary a bit lively. I do make sure it doesn't overpower my voice. I usually lower the volume until it appears as nothing but a straight line, but sometimes music can be so loud I have to turn it down even more. Most of the music I use in my videos is from the Half-Life games, mostly because those are some of my favorite games ever and the soundtrack is awesome, and it mostly just fits with what I'm saying. Although I do use some music from stuff like Doom and the John Wick soundtrack to give a little variety. It also helps because there may be subtle sound in the background of the recording, which while not a big distraction can still be distracting, and the music kind of helps cover that up. The music is the last thing I add to the video because it's not essential to make the video. In fact, the Stanley Parable video has no music apart from the end, which was a complete mistake. I never intended for that, but that's just how it turned out. I may also include a montage of gameplay in the video, but I may not do that as much anymore since people really don't seem to like that. So the next thing I do is export the video, and then it rests on my computer for a few days or weeks. I don't upload them right away because even though I could, I feel like that would way oversaturate my channel and viewers may get sick of it, and they may start expecting videos on a basis that I can't keep up with. I'm going to start releasing these videos more often, but I want it to be a subtle transition, not something that just comes out of nowhere. For example, in August 2018 I released both the Fear video and the Max Payne video, and a Doom Eternal video, if you want to count that. I did intend for the Max Payne video to be done in September, but I overestimated, as I also did with my Fear video. I am going to start and try to make 2 videos a month instead of 1, like having one at the beginning of the month and then one in the mid to end of the month. Anyway, I then make the thumbnail, which I show my mame Nia, who has expressed interest in making thumbnails for me, and I have gladly accepted and will credit him if he does make one for me. Although sometimes he thinks the thumbnails are fine and he just goes about his day. So then I upload the video when I feel like it, and people watch it and comment on it, and yeah, that's about it. Now, it usually takes about 2 to 3 weeks to make these videos, but that's also because I do have other things in my life to do. Now, fortunately, I do get to spend a load of time making videos and just doing whatever I want, but I'm not always able to work on these videos. There are also some days where I'm just not in the mood to work on a video or even play video games. I might just want to watch a movie or Or just watch some YouTube videos, who knows. Although if I was to calculate how much time it takes me to make a video, not including other stuff in my life, it would take around 30 to 50 hours. Although the longest video to make was Fear, which took around 80 hours of work over the course of 2 months. I had to do a bunch of research for that video and watch an hour-and-a-half long lectures about AI in video games, so yeah, it took a while to get that video out, but I'm happy with it. It can also just depend on how much content is in a game. Like, my Portal review only took just under 2 weeks because that game is only 2 hours long. If I was to do a review on a game like The Witcher 3, then it would take much longer. Anyway, how I make my videos may change a little bit in the future, but I don't think it'll change that much. If it does, I'll make another video explaining how I do stuff. I hope I've given some good advice to anyone wanting to start doing similar content, or content inspired by me. If you have any questions you want to ask me, then I will answer them in the comments below. And if you do end up making your own content and want to share it with me, I will check it out and give some feedback when possible. Now for a quick update. I would like to give a shout out to Meme Bean for being a cool dude. Go check him out. He makes very interesting videos, to say the least. The Max Payne 2 video is completed and will be released on the 14th of October, since that will be the 15-year anniversary for the game, and I want it to be special. It is also the longest video I have made thus far, and the one I'm most happy with. I mean, despite some missteps, I am happy with the overall quality of my videos, except my Dead Space one. My goodness, that video was awful. I am also working on a collaboration with Baggy Spartan 117. Not gonna spoil exactly what, but I'd say you go check him out to see what that is. He also did shout me out.
I want to give a shout out to someone that has been really helpful lately, and his name is Mr. No Life.
Thanks, buddy. I'm also doing a podcast with Henry Badger and Baggy Spartan 117. I don't exactly know what this podcast will become, or even if it will be just a regular thing on my channel, or just a one-off thing, but I'm looking forward to it, and seeing how it goes. I also have the reviews for November and December planned, and oh boy, they're gonna be good. In the meantime, this is where I get off.